Hello, everyone. I am Goober. This is Intharth, and we are going to be this fish in front of you here. We're going to be downloading this free model. We're going to be rigging it in Blender. We're going to be exporting it into Redfaction using rafalh's upgraded vmesh tool that now handles skeletal animations. Then we're going to be bringing it into Redfaction as a conversion mod and a custom entity that you can place in a level. So yeah.
Yes, we are.
Normally you would go ahead and hit download here on this free model website and download and extract all these files. We already did that, so if you want to jump over to the folder that they're all in,
This
and
is the this is what you see here.
this is what you will get when you download those files. I'll note very quickly that this model comes with a PNG file. As you probably know if you're watching this, but even if you don't, Redfaction needs TGA textures or DDS if you really wanted to. So the first thing we're going to do is convert this PNG to a TGA so that we can use it in Redfaction.
Boom.
That's a
And the
nice fish.
simplest way to, it is a beautiful fish. The easiest way to do that, just change PNG to TGA. Simple. But we're gonna give it a little bit of a different name just so we can identify it differently, just to make it easier, so we can find it better. Something simple like fish skin. Simple.
Sure, fish skin.
TGA, and then you export
And
that out, and then
there you
what
go.
will happen is you now have two versions of the same image, just different format.
Now, you actually could just delete the PNG version here. You're never going to need it for what we're doing, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So go ahead and open up Blender, and we're going to open up this fish.blend file we just downloaded. You could also open the fish.obj file, or import
Yeah.
it rather if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter.
Yep. Good thing to note is the site that handles it. There's three different formats it sent us. One's a Blender file that we can just open immediately in Blender. One's a fully like finished OBJ with the texture already on it, and the other one is a 3ds file. But we're not going to use any of those. We're just going to use Blender to open it because it's an automatic process. It's already open.
Now, you probably want to go ahead and switch over to the layout workspace just to make things easy.
Yep. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this camera because we don't need it. Hit N to get rid of this. We don't need that for now. And yeah, what you would normally see in Blender is not this view. This is because this file's been saved in this format. If you don't see layout in the top tabs there, you just go to the little plus sign up here, go to general, and then add layout, and then you get everything that's normal.
Before we do anything else, just go ahead and just drag the fish in the scene collection thing there. Just drag it up to scene collection and delete collection one.
Yeah.
And the reason we're going to do that is because for the vmesh software to work, everything that we're doing has to be at the root level. It has to be directly at the scene root. So you don't want it to be like a child of anything or in a collection or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So, first thing I'm going to do, personally, is I'm going to move the origin, so that
Just
first scaling and rotation and all that kind of stuff.
sorry, just go ahead and do Control A and apply all transforms first. Just I did that
Uh,
last time and it yeah.
I see. Okay, maybe that'll work. The origins disappeared.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
fine. And set the
set- so we're gonna set origin to geometry to origin. It doesn't really matter. It essentially puts the origin of the mesh in the center of the mass of the mesh, just so that this stops like odd deform. Like unless you want to specify where the origin goes, this like removes unnecessary deformities with scaling and rotation, etc. Just makes it a much easier process to begin with. And then, unfortunately, our fish here is much bigger than the fish you might have seen in Red Faction. So we're gonna scale it down, just not to the same size as that, but we're gonna bring it down so it's not as big as, say, the sea creature,
and
for example.
just for the information of anybody who's watching this, in Blender units, each one of these grid squares is roughly, actually not roughly, it's exactly 1 meter in, like the big squares, 1 meter in Red Factions units, which means that when we started, this fish was 5 meters long, which was an enormous fish. Now it's like a meter and a half long, which is much more appropriate.
And just so we can work with the file appropriately, we're going to set all of the locations to the center of the grid here. So that's going to go to 0, 0, 0, just to make sure everything's centered and the geometry is in the middle of the grid.
And then after you scale it, just do Control A and apply all transforms again. You want to make sure that at the point that you start rigging and animating your mesh, it has a scale of 1, 1, 1. So Control A, apply all transforms, make sure that the scale is reset to 1, 1, 1. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and set up the material.
So, yep, this is a very simple process. Normally, when you import something, so if you're wanting to amend the red faction models, you're going to get a different visual here. But essentially, this line here will still be there, and it's this one you want to make sure is a principled BSDF. The other one it's a ton of extra stuff that you don't need. This is the one that works. And all you need to do is click on this little yellow icon here between base color, and this is just the color wheel. But the yellow icon here, it allows you to see everything that you can swap this sort of material into. But we're going to use image texture because that's the only thing that Red Faction works with, and we have the texture right here just to sub in. And we go to the material view here. We can see that it's applied.
That's a nice fish texture.
You know what? It's beautiful. Perfect in every single way.
Okay, so now our mesh is ready to start creating our skeleton rig and then animating. So if you want to go ahead, just save this file or save as, just so we make a backup.
So we're going to call this something like just a different name to make sure we got a backup to work to. It's fish test.
Sure.
We can save multiples of these if we need to.
And now we should be good to start creating our armature, which is what is going to form the skeleton for our mesh. So yeah, just go add armature.
Add armature. Yep. And first thing you're going to want to do when you add the armature is you're going to go down here to Object Data Properties. And in the Viewport Display menu here, you're going to want to click In Front. Essentially, this just makes it so that from whatever position you see it, the rig will always be on top, making it easier to amend and move around inside the model.
That can be particularly useful for smaller bones that are like completely encompassed by the mesh geometry.
Fingers, toes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So yeah, just go over to edit mode with your armature selected. Select the top ball up there and move that down.
Yep. So important to know, I'm using hotkeys to move. So I'll say if I'm using a different hotkey. Right now I'm using G to move it, and then I'm hitting Z to move it down in the Z axis. And then I'm going to hit G again to drag it in. I'm not hitting as an axis rotation this time because I'm hand pointing this one essentially.
Yeah. Note that you are in the side view. You've aligned your view to the side so that
yeah. It's just easier to move it that way because everything's straight right now.
So yeah, you're gonna want to go up, somewhere around the gills there, and then maybe back a little tiny bit. Yeah, that should be fine. And then you're gonna extrude with the E key.
Yep, extrude. So this is gonna be the head bone, and we're gonna bring that right to the tip of the mouth here.
Yeah, and the only reason we're doing that is so that we can like animate the head swaying back and forth.
If I come out, you can see that in front is very helpful for this kind of object because we can see where it is in all positions of the body.
Exactly. Now hit the ball at the center there and extrude that in the other direction, and we're going to, just extrude right about where the tail meets the body. Yep, right about. Nope, back a bit. Like right about at the, about right there.
Here? Okay.
Yeah, about right there. And then hit E again to make another one for the tail. Now, I mean, you could make two for the tail if you wanted to like animate the top and the bottom of the tail separately, but that's
the purpose of this test.
Work.
We're just gonna move.
It's a small fish.
For the purposes of this, it's going to be a single motion tail.
Exactly. So now our armature should be good to set up our vertex weights, which is basically what's going to rig the model to the armature so that when you move the bones, the parts of the model get deformed in that way. So you're just going to, right here in object mode, you're going to select the mesh, shift, select the armature, press Control P, and with automatic weights. And when you do that, just select your armature again. It's just the armature, and now go into pose mode. Just to show, if you start moving around the front bone, or rotating it rather, There you go. So obviously you don't want your fish to move like that, but as
If,
you can
if
see,
it moves
obviously,
like that, if it moves like that, you need to see a vet.
yeah, exactly. But anyway, as an example, you can see we can move different parts of the fish, and if you grab the tail, it would do the same thing. Just there you go. The tail is moving around. Exactly. Obviously, these movements are a bit abrupt for a swimming fish, but
You get the point.
exactly. Now, we did actually, in doing that, as much as we solved the problem, we actually caused ourselves another problem for the purposes of right faction. So let's solve that. Go up to the scene collection, hit the expand, and remember how I said before we need everything to be at the root of the scene? At the moment, our fish is not at the root of the scene because we just parented it to our armature. So to solve that, shift drag the fish in that view up into scene collection. Yep. Yep.
Boom.
And now when we did that, that actually unattached our fish mesh from our armature, which is not what we want. So to solve that, with your fish selected, go to modifiers.
It's the spanner icon here.
Yep. And then go to add modifier, and you're going to do an armature under deform. And then the little eyedropper, their object, and then select your armature. And now we have relinked our fish mesh to our armature without needing it to be a child of the armature. And as you can see, it still works.
That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. Now, I will note that at this point, technically, we do have a working rig and working vertex weights. So we technically have a skeletal mesh here that we could export. We don't have any animations, however, which means that we're not actually going to be able to see it move in game. So yeah, just go ahead and save a point in time thing. So call it rig. Now, let's give it 2 animations. For our purposes, we need a fish swimming animation and we need a fish idle animation. So I guess the idle animation will be him moving slightly and the swimming animation will be him moving more.
I was gonna say this is a great idle animation.
Yeah.
Problem solved, you know.
So you're going to want to go to the animation workspace up top.
Oh.
That's fine.
I do not like this view at all.
I don't like that view either, but we don't need to do anything with it, so good enough.
There we go.
Okay, so down in the graph thing there, you're going go to dope sheet. Click that, go to dope sheet. And now you're going to want to click wait, where maybe you need to pull that up because when you click dope sheet there, we just lost our controls. I think that's the workspace that was set up in this file.
Oh, this is the dope sheet here?
No. Just hang on. Just
yeah,
go to.
Yeah,
right just. Here. Well, it's also at the bottom. Just go click dope sheet at the bottom there. This is an artifact of the way that the workspace was set up in the file we downloaded. If you go to action editor. Yeah.
That's the one we wanted, right?
Yeah, that should be good. Just where is the only thing I'm wondering is where's the record button?
Oh. I didn't even notice that's what we were missing. Dope sheet.
I'll tell you what, just click the thing to the left of dope sheet.
This?
That button there, yeah, and go back to timeline because it was there. Hit the record button, and then we'll go to dope sheet again. That'll set it.
Got it.
I'm not sure why that button's not showing up in dope sheet. I'm sure there's a way to make that visible. I just don't know the hotkey for it off the top of my head. But anyway, so yeah, action editor, hit new. Right there. This is going to be a new animation, and you just name it right there, just where it says action. Yeah, just name it like fish_idle. Yep, that's good. And now, so for our idle animation, what do you want to do? You want to just like rotate?
I guess move the head slightly because the tail will be when it's moving. So I guess we just move the head slightly, right?
Sure, let's do that. So, yeah, so you're going to want to, just drag that out. It's that arrow right there.
I'm gonna try and
if you click, there you go.
Okay. No, it's not showing me the bloody menu there.
That should be fine.
How do I go to pose mode?
Pretty sure it's P. Or no, it's down bottom. It's down bottom right there.
Oh, I'm so blind. I swear to God.
So yeah, select that and then take your rotate tool and rotate it.
We should probably set the first keyframe, right?
Yeah, and also, why is your action not selected anymore? Maybe when you hit P, it undid that. Just hit, yeah, right there. Select fish idle. Yeah. And yeah, so if you go key.
Where's key? Oh.
Key menu. What is it? Insert keyframes. All channels.
Did that do it, or?
I think it did. I've had this problem a couple of times, and it's really annoying. Tell you what, just rotate this key, and with record selected, if you rotate this key, and yep, that's fine. And now click rotate at the bottom there. Now at the bottom of the viewport window, expand out rotate to the left.
Where's that?
To the left.
Oh,
right there. Yeah, click that, and then do 0.
On the angle?
Yeah, that will set an angle for 0, and that will be your key. And now go ahead in the timeline. So this is probably going to be a pretty small animation. So maybe go to like, sure, 10, 5. I'd say 5 or 10.
Oh, 10 tails. 10 to make it obvious, I suppose.
Actually, no. Go to 5 because it'll go one way and then it'll go the other way and then it'll go back to the start. Okay. So yeah, rotate this, say, to the left a little tiny bit. I think you're rotating it down.
Am I?
Yes. Do you want to just use the rotate gizmo instead of the hotkeys? I hate using the hotkeys.
Fair enough.
And just, yeah, the blue line, just rotate a little bit. Yeah, and then go ahead a little tiny bit. Yeah, and then rotate it the other direction.
Whoa, it's a bit drastic.
And now go to the first key. Select the first key and right-click and duplicate.
Okay.
And then drag that ahead to 15. And then if you just like move your cursor between them, you can see, there you go. So this is a pretty dumb looking idle animation, but it'll work.
For the purposes of the tutorial, this is fine.
Exactly. I'm definitely not an animator. So that works for your idle animation. Now under the action editor there, you're going to want to hit the new button. No, over next to fish idle. You're going to want to hit the new button.
Which one is the new button?
To the right, right next to delete.
Oh, this one.
Yep, there you go. And now name that like fish swim. Okay, now this actually made a copy of our idle animation, which is fine. So let's just have our swim animation be the same thing, except it also has the tail moving.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then rotate that. And same thing as we did before. It's the easiest way I found to do it. Just take the rotate. Yep. There you go. Now go to, say, 5. Yep. And rotate that a little bit. And...
Should we go to the same side, or should we go opposite?
I'd say opposite, but, like, it's pretty simple animation anyway, but, yeah. And then go ahead.
I'm going to delete that key, and I'm going to make another one, because that's very, very just.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, now go ahead a little bit. And like you can spend a lot. Oh, you're hitting hockey again. Or
no, I didn't actually. I just got it wrong.
And like you can put a lot of work, and like animators do put a lot of work into fine tuning animations. This is just for a test, so I'm not really that concerned. As long as it's obvious that our animation is working, I'm happy. There you go. So now on our swimming animation, he's moving his tail and his body. If we wanted to get really fancy, we could make him move the other bones as well, but that's fine for now. So in swim, he moves his tail and his body, or his tail and his head, and in idle, he just moves his head. Okay, so now that's good. Now let's go back to the layout tab. And we are actually done in Blender for now. Woo! So let's just save this out. Just save it as like fish animated or something. Yep. And now let's go ahead and get this into Red Faction. So go to File.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
File, export, GLTF.
Export.
GLTF, yeah. Now make sure format is changed to GLTF embedded.
Always, always.
And yeah, just find a folder to put this in. You might as well just put it in a subfolder of the fish that we're working on.
I was actually gonna go and stick it straight in the vmesh folder.
You can. I was just gonna get you to make a copy of vmesh and put it in the fish folder, but either way
that's
works.
that's probably easier, yeah.
Yeah, just to keep everything. Yeah.
Fish just animated blend DLTF.
Good enough. It doesn't really matter what it's named. We're gonna rename it anyway. Yeah, and export.
Boom.
Now you're going to go grab a copy of vmesh. And now you already have a copy of vmesh, but for anybody out there who's watching this that doesn't already have a copy of vmesh, because this version of vmesh is still experimental, it's still in beta, so it is only available on the Discord in the workshop channel. So at the bottom of your screen, you will see a link to join our Discord. It's the Red Faction Community Discord, or the Faction Files Discord. If you go to the workshop channel in that Discord, there is a pinned message that has a link to download this file. It will eventually be on Faction Files, but it's, like I said, still an experimental phase, so at the moment it's only available in that channel. So you're going to want to put the vmesh.exe file, when you have it, into the same folder with your GLTF file. Then you're going to want to go up to your address, just go up to the address bar there. There you go. Now type cmd.exe.
Command
and
prompt.
Now, very, 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 very simple command here. You're just literally just going to type in vmesh space and just type in fish animated, and then just press tab, and
it didn't
that's good enough.
Do that.
Just press tab.
It's not working.
Oh, it's because there's multiple files with the same name. Fish animated blend.g, and then it should complete the rest.
Nope, it's literally not.
Oh, it's
Got it. I put an R in there. It's my bad.
Yeah, and press tab again because you need the GLTF file. There you go. So a very, very, very simple syntax. Just vmesh fish animated, or whatever your mesh file is, .gltf, and hit enter. And as you can see here in the output, it processed one top-level mesh node, which was our fish. It then processed two animations, which it even lists out for you here: fish idle and fish swim. And if you go back to your folder, you can close command prompt now. You will see a couple of files here that we need. Fish are animated. Just rename that to something because I hate that name.
Do you know what the actual fish is called?
Well, we're gonna make a custom entity anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just name it like, just name it like
fish02.
Fish02. Sure, good enough. So we have fish02.v3c, which is our skeletal mesh file. We then have fishidle.rfa and fishswim.rfa. Those are our two animation files. So let's go ahead and, before we even do the tables for these, let's just add all these files while we're looking at them to a VPP in our mod folder. So just open up, go to your Red Faction folder and go to mod.
I'm gonna, yeah, let's do it here.
Go to mods, and we're going to make a new mod for this. So just make a new folder and just call it like fish02. Doesn't even matter, this is just a test. Go into that folder and now open up VPP Builder.
Can I do it a slightly different way to what you might think I would do it?
Sure, go for it. It works.
I literally just, open up one, hit the edit button. And
yeah, that's
new.
Fine. It's the exact same thing. Yeah.
It's easier for me than trying to search for it in like Windows and whatnot, because it's buried in the C drive somewhere.
To be honest, I usually just make a copy of the VPP file, go into it, and delete everything there and replace it. But anyway, yeah. So this is our new VPP file. So we're going to take those files that I just said. So the V3C, the two RFAs, and the TGA.
Oh Christ! The TGA, which is there.
TGA fishskin.tga.
Boom.
And put those all in there. Now you're going to hit save.
Save as.
And we're going to save this in the mod folder that we just made. Just exit that. Just don't call it Untitled. Call it like...
Oh, I didn't even realize I called it Untitled. My bad. I was just so focused there.
Just like fish mesh or something like that. Okay, now all of our assets are in our mod folder. Now all that's left is to do the scripting. So go ahead and grab a copy of the original entity.table file from the game and put it into the mod folder, and then we'll start editing.
So yeah, just for clarity's sake, I already have these exported, but they will be in a VPP in the RF root directory. It's just called tables. All of this kind of stuff. You'll get your clutter table, your game, your HUDs, all that kind of stuff exists here. For the purposes of this, we just need the entity table. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, and we're going to paste that in here for now.
Yeah, so yeah, like you say, if you're doing a mod and you need a custom table file, just extract it from tables.vpp, and you only need to include in your mod whatever tables you're changing. You don't need to include all of them.
Yeah, it's important to note that do not amend the stock table. If you're going to amend a table, always put it in a mod folder.
Exactly. Yes. If you edit your the files that are in tables.vpp, you're going to make your game incompatible with everything else, and you are going to run into problems. So don't do that. Put in a mod. So go ahead and open up entity table in Notepad++ or whatever. Notepad works. Doesn't matter.
Actually, technically, I do have no because I have Raylib, so I do have Notepad++.
It doesn't matter. You just need a text editor. And now just control F for fish is the easiest thing. We're just going to make a copy of the existing fish and edit stuff. So just select everything in the class for the fish. Yep.
That's
copy. Yep. Copy. And just paste it right below it. And just change name to fish02. Same thing for v3d file name. That is going to be the name of the skeletal mesh. Now, I will note, for anybody who thinks this is strange, I know this says v3d file name, and then it specifies a vcm file, and we have a v3c file. I am aware of how inconsistent all of this is. You're gonna have to ignore that because this is
not our fault.
that's Volition's fault. Ignore all the file extensions here and just keep them the way that they are. If you change them, you are going to cause problems. But you can use fish02.v3c, specify fish02.vcm in the table file, and it'll work just fine.
The only thing that actually matters is the name of the file itself, not the extension. So as long as the names match up, you're fine.
Exactly.
Also, obviously, it has to be VCM or V3C, but other than that, you're fine.
Exactly. Now, I will note, we are going to just keep the death for the old fish. Making a death animation is something that you can do. It's kind of outside of the scope of this tutorial. So at the moment, if you shoot our fish, it's going to like break into the same pieces as the old fish, but that's fine. Just go ahead and set the life to like 300 or something, just so it's not going to die.
Where's life?
Right there. Yeah, we're not going to be testing killing our fish. We're just going to see him swim. Yep. And now, yeah, he takes a lot more damage from armor-piercing bullets because apparently he has armor. Yeah, so if you go down to animations there, those are the only other things that we're going to need to change. So those states are perfectly fine. We're only going to use 2 animations. Volition had 3. So for swim stand, which is a great name for a fish thing, change fish stand.mvf to fish_idle.
Did I use a capital? Does capital matter?
I don't think it matters. I use lowercase for everything because it's...
I used a capital I, so I'm gonna make just because I did that just to be safe, you know.
Sure.
You never know what matters.
At that point, do it for the VCM file as well up top.
Oh, you're right.
Not the entity class, but the... Yeah, there you go. And now the only other animation we have is fish swim. And again, I'll also say, this says MVF in the table file. We're using RFAs. Just ignore that inconsistency. So change swim walk to fish_swim.
This one here?
No, not that. The actual file. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, the MVF file. Yeah, and if you want to do your capitalization like you did, you can.
Oh, you're right. I name everything with capitals.
And now the easiest thing to do, completely honestly, is there you go. Let's just use the same. Yeah, let's just use the same fish swim animation for all 3 swims.
What is what is this part here? Do we redo this as well?
Change that to the fish idle one.
And just change this one to swim fish. Fish
Yep.
swim as well. Jesus Christ. Oh, there we go. There we go.
There we go. And that really should be everything that we need for our fish. So go ahead and save your file.
Save as. Remember to save over the amendable one, not the one you would have extracted.
Well, yeah. I mean, in our case, it doesn't really matter.
Just
but
be
yeah.
safe. Just be safe.
Yep. That's.
Boom. Yep.
There we go. Okay, so now go to open up vmesh test the VPP, and let's add our new entity table to it.
Oh Christ. Closing everything. So yeah, it's important. Just to be just to clarify, even if a table's in the mod folder, it won't actually activate itself unless it's in a VPP. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in a mod folder in this game has to be in a VPP pack file.
Yeah,
So any
it doesn't work
assets.
just like placing it in the folder.
No, exactly. Any assets, tables, anything you want the mod to load have to be in a VPP file in the mod folder. Hit save. Okay, now our fish is done. So let's go ahead and test it. So the easiest thing to do here, to be honest, is probably let's just grab a copy of one of the levels from the actual game, just so we don't need to do like the path nodes or anything, and we'll just open up the editor with our mod and drop our new fish into it. So do you have extracted versions of the levels in the game already?
I think I have one of the water ones.
I mean, just go to your Red Faction folder. We can just extract one.
Just believe. Let me go to singles here. I think it's L5, isn't it?
L5. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, I've got L5S4 here.
L5S4 would be the research place, the underwater research. That'll work.
Yeah, that's the one that starts you underwater. We can move the.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so just make a copy of that, and go to your mod folder. Yep, and now, so open up the Dash launcher. Select your mod, fish2 from the bottom. And I will note for anybody watching, if you do this and your mod doesn't show up, just restart the Dash launcher. It gets the list of mods when the launcher starts, so if you leave the launcher open, then you might not show it. So just restart the launcher if your mod's not showing up. Hit level editor. And now let's just go open, file open, and open the level that you just put in your mod folder.
There we go.
And yeah, it says it's going to be saved with the mod, but we want that to happen, so that's fine. Now, the first thing I'm going to get you to do is to delete those submarines, because they're going to kill us if we're...
I'm just looking around the map, just making sure I'm in the right... I was the right map I thought of, yeah.
It is,
There's two submarines here, isn't there?
There is. There's one right in front of you, and there's one behind the base. So let's just delete the two submarines, just so that when we spawn, they're not going to kill us.
Where is he?
He's behind the underwater research thingy.
Back there?
Yeah.
Behind?
Yeah, he's back there.
Is he hidden when the level starts?
Yeah, he only shows up if you kill the other one, so I guess it didn't actually matter, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, let's place one of our fish. So if you expand out entity and then creatures, should see fish 02. Add fish 02. And now I think it went down to the floor.
There it is.
There you go. So you probably want to move them up. Just do it in side view.
I've already forgotten how to move things.
Just put your mouse over side view, hold M, and just press up a couple times. Yeah, right there. Just hold M and press up a couple times.
I'm just making it easier to see things. There he is. There.
Yeah, good enough. And just make a couple of copies of him. Just go to top view.
If I place him in here, is he connected to this nav mesh?
Yes.
This nav. Yeah.
You don't need to connect things to nav meshes. Okay. If there's a nav mesh there that it can use, it will. So yeah, just make a couple copies of them so that we can see some fish.
There we go.
There you go. So now save.
Save.
And if you create a pack file here, is it gonna? Yes. Some of the default maps have missing textures, so that doesn't work, but it did in this case. So yeah, you can just hit the play button there from red if you want.
Play camera should work here, right?
Yep.
And there they go.
And there you go. We have some fish. And if you get up a bit closer to them, you should be able to
If
see
they'll
the
let
animation.
me. If they'll let, I mean, I can see
Just,
the animation from here, but oh, there, that's
yeah.
that's a red fish.
You just go into camera 2. You can
Oh
move
yeah.
quicker. There you go. Their animation. Now, it's, like I said, it's not the best animation in the world, but as you can see, when they're
It's
moving,
functional.
the head and the tail are both moving.
There he goes. He's having a good time.
Yeah, he is.
Better looking fish than the Mars one, I'll give you that.
Yeah, now Mars has trout. Enormous trout.
Hey, don't knock it. But yeah, it's actually really cool seeing, because like seeing it work as opposed to Griffin blending himself to the face of. Whoa, okay. That was weird.
I love AI in this game sometimes.
Yeah, that wasn't a problem with our work. That was just the AI.
Yeah, that's the fish tend to dance sometimes. But yeah.
And there he goes again.
There he goes again. I don't know why they do that actually. I've seen the default fish do that too.
Is this another one of ours? Oh,
Yeah.
this is another one of ours.
Yeah,
It's nice to see that with the animation, sorry, with the nav mesh, they do actually manage to branch out to all the other ones. Because that was my fear when it dropped in at the bottom there. Is it actually connected to a nav mesh there?
Yep. No, it is, and it'll swim all over the place.
Yep. Nice and connected.
Yep. Yeah, so I think that's basically it for the tutorial. I guess we'll call it there, unless you had anything else you wanted to say.
No, I think that's because I mean, maybe we could recap. We've downloaded a folder. We've downloaded a model offline online. We converted its original texture from a PNG to a TGA to make sure it works with Red Faction. We did some little modifications in Blender to make sure it works with all the appropriate Red Faction settings, and we rigged it up.
Yeah, and then imported it in game with the table scripting as a custom mod and placed it in the editor. The only thing that I'll say is, outside of thanks for watching, and I'm really excited to see what kind of new creations get made thanks to rafalh's vmesh tool. I am going to send a shout out to Rafal, because without him this definitely would not be possible. So thank you for not only this but for Dash Faction as well.
Always.
And I'll note for anybody who's watching this video and wants to, probably should have noted this at the start, but anybody who wants to follow along, the link to download the fish mesh as well as the VPP Descent Manager VPP Builder toolkit that we use to create the mod, there will be links down in the video description to download both of those so you can follow along. Or you can get your own mesh anywhere, or make your own and follow along, just obviously with different bones, because you're presumably not going to make a fish. But that's about everything I had, so I guess we'll cut it there. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.